Have you ever been talking to somebody and at first they seem really cool, but as the more you talk to them and you listen to them, you start to think that they are lying to you? And that is exactly how I feel about financial services people, politicians, and some of the financial experts and money experts on social media. Because I watch a lot of videos and read a lot of articles on retirement, finance, and things of that nature, right? And just the more that I listen to them, I just think that maybe everything that they're telling us is just a part of a big, larger lie and scheme. And that's what I want to talk about in this video is why I believe that, a lot of the things that we hear about, money and retirement and work is probably part of a larger scheme. And for some of us, it might be just a big lie. So the big craze in the world today, for especially for people my age, is financial freedom and retirement, because we're getting a little older and everybody wants to shut it down one day, right? And just sit on the beach and sip fruity drinks. And you get a lot of financial advice thrown your way, particularly on social media. And this all starts from the time that we're little bitty babies, right? So, we're born, we start growing a little bit, and, we're immediately, given a bunch of things. And, eventually we're just kind of groomed to want more things. So we grow up, we go to elementary school, and then we go to high school. And then that's where people start talking to you about going to work and working. And the government has created laws, right, for you to work as young as 14 to 16 years old. So it was thoughtful and intentional that somebody out here wants you to start working early as possible. And the reason why is because the government wants something from you. They want you to start paying income taxes, Medicare taxes, and Social Security taxes, unemployment taxes as soon as possible, because they need you to start feeding the system as early as possible. And they want you to do this for the next 40 years of your life. Even the money that you take home, they don't want you to just stick it in, a savings account and do nothing. No, they prefer that you go out and spend that money and consume it, right? To further move the economy forward. So even the money that you're taking home after they've taxed you to death, they want you to go and spend it. Outside of your parents, nobody really gives a shit about how much money that you save. Everybody is pulling at this money that you were told to go out and earn at a young age. And like I said, the intent is for this ridiculous cycle to go on for the rest of your life. So we talked about the grooming that takes place to get you to seek work at such a young age when you have the rest of your freaking life to work. But another thing that is going to get introduced to you at a young age, possibly around the age of 18, as you either, go to the workforce, or when around 22 years of age and finish college and you're getting your first real job, you're going to start getting bombarded with talk of retirement. Now, before your freaking career has even taken off and you've lived any life yet, that they're talking to you about retirement. Financial services companies are going to tell you to save, 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 save during your 40 plus years of working, so that at the age of 65, you have this pot of gold waiting for you at the end of the rainbow. So why are these companies so interested in you as a youth, right? And your retirement that is 40 plus years away? Maybe they're just good Samaritans. They're just good people who are just looking out for you. No, maybe it's because they get something out of it. Maybe it's the fact that they get paid through you depositing money with them, because that becomes assets under management. They invest that money in their funds and they get fees off of assets under management, regardless if the fund does well or not. They get paid regardless. So why wouldn't you want to have someone who is working as soon as possible and you get to collect money from them for 40 plus years and you get to earn money off of them? That sounds like someone is telling you a lie about, what their true intentions are, because they see you as a meal ticket. And they even have the government on their side. so that if you invest your money in these different retirement funds, like a 401k, for example, that they will even penalize you for trying to use the money. So you deposit this money over all this time and you can't even use the money without being penalized, by the government. So it is a perfect scenario, perfect deal, perfect setup for a financial services company to get you into the workforce as soon as possible, start contacting you and talking to you about retirement and savings and so forth as soon as possible, because it's all part of this big, larger scheme. So let's say that you do invest your money with the financial services company for your retirement, and you do that for 40 plus years, and now you're 65 and you have $1 million in your investment account. And you know what's going to happen then? You're going to get some great advice. And that advice is going to be, you should only spend 4% of your investment balance. So if you have $1 million, someone is going to tell you you should only spend $40,000. So you telling me you just worked 40 plus years, giving somebody your money, and at the end of it, they're going to tell you that you can only spend $40,000 a year. Right. That's the great advice you're going to get. Meanwhile, from you following this silly 4% rule, you're going to end up most likely, with 2 to 3 times your original balance. So instead of having $1 million, you're going to likely die with $2 to $3 million in your investment account because it continued to grow and you were only spending this measly amount. And what happened during all that time? Well, the financial services company still earned fees off of your investment account. As a matter of fact, they earned more fees because your balance grew. As a result, they got more fees. So this whole thing just seems like a silly game that, we're being taught, that just makes no sense to me. It just seems insane to me. Another reason I feel like we're being lied to is because of all the constant messaging that we get about how much money you need in retirement, right? To me, retirement is very personal and there's no one size fits all. It's what you need particular to your situation, not, what somebody else has or what somebody else thinks. Because you constantly hear people say, oh, you need, $1.5 million to live comfortably in retirement. Then you'll hear that it's 1.7 million, and then it's 2 million, and it's 2.5 million dollars to live comfortably in retirement. And it all seems like nonsense because the number tends to go up every single month with every new video. All I know is this, is that my mother-in-law has been retired for 10 years. And I'm certain that she is not sitting on millions or even $1 million for retirement. But she lives comfortably. She still has a mortgage, has a nicer car than mine, and she drives around and hangs out with her friends as if she doesn't have a care in the world, and she doesn't have any intent on going back to work. So obviously something is not aligning here, that, you need this ton of money to be able to retire and live comfortably. Now, I'm not saying that she out here just balling out of control, but she sure looks pretty damn free. So the average life expectancy for a male in the United States is about 75 and a half years, right? So you're telling me that if I work my ass off from a youth all the way to 65 years old, that I may get 10 years to spend 4% of my retirement income and live happily ever after, right? That sounds insane to me. It sounds stupid to me, because I'm going to go through life and, defer gratification, defer everything that I've ever wanted in life, for that goal at the end. It just doesn't make sense to me. I just feel like it's all just part of this big lie and scheme that we're being fed, every day concerning retirement and money and so forth. And here's where the government comes in to perpetuate the scheme even more by saying, oh, you paid in for Social Security all these years, right? But if you take it early at the age of 62, well, I'm going to give you a much smaller benefit, right? And also, your full retirement age is 67, but I'm going to incentivize you to not take it at 67, to take it at 70 by giving you more money if you take it at 70, right? Well, if my average life expectancy is like 75 and a half years, that means that I'm going to get to spend that higher paycheck for 5 years. And they're just perpetuating the scheme even more. And it just seems silly to me. In addition, if I, as the higher earner, take Social Security early before my wife does, for example, then I am limiting the benefit that she gets. Again, this makes no sense to me. If she paid money into the system, all of those same 40 plus working years, and I did, why is her benefit being limited, by what I take? It's just insane to me, this whole system. So what is my advice? Well, I don't have any advice for you. I can't tell you how to live your life. But the only thing I can tell you is that we need to stop listening to, politicians and government officials and the financial services industry and those people who perpetuate, the financial services industry when they tell you to basically just continue to defer your life, until the end for some expected rainbow that you're going to get when you have no clue how much longer you're going to have on this earth. So you should start living your life right now. That's the thing that I've been trying to do a little bit more right now to um, not be disappointed in the end, so to speak, is live a little bit more of my life right now. For example, earlier this year, my wife and I, we went on a 14-day trip to London, and that was very cool. And we recently, just this month, got back from a 7-day cruise. So more and more I'm starting to try and live, life now, because my dad and my brother both died from cancer. My dad retired, and I'm not sure if he lived 10 years outside of retirement. So I don't want that to be me. I want to be able to live more of my life right now. And if I was going to give you any advice, that would be my advice to you. Don't, listen to this whole deferred life strategy that, everybody preaches and teaches, because it just may not be worth it for you in the end. Now, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying go out there and be crazy and spend up every dime that you have. No, I'm not saying that. You do need to prep for retirement and so forth. But the extent to which you do that, you need to take into account that, life is happening right now too. So that is all I have for you in this video. If you took something of value, please like and share with your friends and your family. And in the meantime, you take care, be safe out here in these social media streets.